What kind of gold should I buy? You know what I noticed during this pandemic? A lot of these bills are consecutive. It's happening all the time. I see consecutive bills. And if you're looking closely at the video, no, not these, not all of them. I separated the consecutive ones, they were sticking together. If you are new here, which my YouTube studio suggests that 80% of you are, please subscribe and comment, and I will happily visit your channel and give you some energy and love back. Guaranteed. So I guess many people by now know that we should be buying gold and silver. I don't actually remain too optimistic in the short term. I do remain optimistic in the long term for the economy, but I think that people are oversimplifying this pandemic, and I don't think it's going to end as fast as they say, and I don't think the economy is going to come back as robust as it was prior, which it actually was not. It was good prior, but it had a lot of issues, and I think this pandemic may be exploiting those issues and compounding the downward effects, creating an environment which I believe is great for gold, and which I'm sure everyone knows is great for gold. So, what kind of gold should I buy? Well, here's the options as I see it. Option 1 is government minted coins, or bullion coins. Option 2 is bars and rounds. Number 3 is ETFs, or exchange traded funds. Number 4, alcohol and fast women. I thought that might bring some of you back to me here. Actually, let's go ahead and just change that to mining stocks. And the last one I got is number 5, jewelry. So this is all I got. If there is something I missed, please put it in the comments below. I'd be happy to learn something. So the majority of my gold is in government minted bullion coins. These are usually readily available at a coin shop, jewelry store, or a pawn shop near you. Now, do I think these are the best options? Well, I think sometimes when you want to get into an investment, it's just good to get your feet wet, to get some of that investment right away. And that's what I've done with these, and I've made money on them. I'm up pretty substantially, actually. Now, some of the higher grade bullion coins minted by governments can be really costly with premiums if they are of low denomination, like a tenth of an ounce. Now, while this may be unsettling, the liquidity is still something that should be considered. The 10th ounce gold eagle market is literally 100 times bigger than the 1 ounce. And if you're not desperate and you take your time, you can even regain those premiums. One of the considerations is how much do you want to be involved in the selling process. If you don't want to be involved in the selling process and you're not much of a people person, then maybe government minted gold coins are not the route for you if you're trying to invest in gold. I have no problem doing what I have to do in that regard. In fact, I actually kind of enjoy it. I like the haggling. I like the collectability. I like the variance in the market. These are all things that are like a game to me, and they're interesting. Speaking of interesting, these are the 90% gold coins. I have one from France, Switzerland, the United States. I'm highly fascinated when I see a coin that has the 1800s on it. I mean, my goal is to have a coin with the 1700s on it one day. These 1800s, early 1900s gold coins actually don't have very high premiums. I mean, I'm sure some of them do, but the majority of the ones that I've seen so far, it's usually a bargain when you buy gold this way. And I like bargains. So when you get a bargain like this, I would imagine if I sell these to a coin shop in a hurry, I'll probably get a little less than melt for them. I guess what I'm trying to say is things that have a high premium that high premium can be recaptured many times, but sometimes it cannot. We must stay prudent. But if you get things that are cheap, chances are when you sell them, they'll be a little cheaper than the melt. So this is a consideration. But time can heal these things too. If you're not in a hurry, you can wait for the right buyer and you can do well. Next up, bars and rounds. As far as fractionals and ounces, these are not much different than the government issued bullion, although not all of these bars are backed by governments, but there are some well-trusted assiers. And there are plenty ways of testing to see if things are real or genuine when it's time to sell. Dealers have electronic metals verifiers. They also have an acid test that they can do. So when you want to start making bigger moves, bigger than an ounce, bars are probably going to be the best deal. I'm definitely looking into eventually getting a 100-gram bar. That's a personal goal of mine. The way prices are going right now, that's looking a little further on the horizon. Personally, in the smaller sizes, I would rather have coins, Eagles or World coins, but I'm not mad at these. I don't really like these cards that I have to keep them in. I might even take those off one day. Here's a nice little generic gold bar. Yeah, it didn't cost me a whole lot over spot. That's great. That's what I look for. So basically, private bars and rounds are going to sell for less over spot, and then when you sell them, you'll probably get melt value, maybe even a little less. So these are things to consider about bars. So option number 3 was exchange traded funds, or ETFs. Now, when I started using Robinhood years ago, which I think is a simple way to buy these if you're not already familiar with buying stocks, I had bought some IAU shares, which is paper gold ETFs, and I was in a tavern one night, and a gentleman had walked in and said, "Sell your stocks, England is leaving the European Union." So I was following global news in relation to gold back in those days pretty well, so I immediately checked my phone to see if this instability had caused a rise in the gold price. And indeed it had. I believe gold went up like 5% that night, so I just hit sell and sold them because I really wasn't worried about the European Union. In fact, I saw them leaving as a long-term positive thing for the world. I didn't think it would cause a lot of negative effects on the market. Plus, my paper gold was just something to play with. Honestly, I don't even know how much weight in gold one of these shares is actually worth. And in fact, I spent all day looking. Well, I spent a good portion of today looking, and I'm not going to spend all day looking for it. It is definitely hidden in some smoke and mirrors. So would I buy these again? Yeah, I probably would buy them again. I mean, if I wanted to just play around with some money and I thought that the market was rather predictable at the time, then sure, I might move some money around. But to be honest, I'm actually starting to think that Bitcoin would make a better paper gold than these ETFs. If we had big trouble with the economy, I wouldn't trust them to get me gold. I mean, most of them you have to own over $1 million to even get gold from them, I think. I think it's very likely you would end up having to take a cash settlement. And if we have a problem with the currency, who wants to take a cash settlement, especially when it has to go through your bank and you have to wait 3 days, all while hyperinflation is taking place, possibly. The next option is mining stocks. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is owning gold, but it is related. And if you become an expert in the field, why not get better at this? But I think it's high risk, but high reward. But ultimately, what you own is part of a company that you're betting on. So it's pretty much a stock. Last, jewelry. Arguably the more passionate of the gold buying bunch. If you've seen any of my past videos, you know how I feel about passion and investing. I think it leads to ruin. But if you're in a destabilized country, or you have no privacy at home and shady roommates, perhaps you would like to wear your wealth. And good news, you can get on the plane with it, and it will not be seized. But gold chains typically have a 300 to 400% markup, and good luck getting that money back when you're selling it. So perhaps I'll learn more about jewelry and mining stocks, but when I do, I'll let you know, but I don't now. So thanks for watching. If you made it all the way to the end and you're not subscribed, come on, subscribe. But thank you.